I thought our $13,700 family trip was postponed until I saw Brian and his girlfriend posting from my booked villa. I called. Mom said, "You work, your brother enjoys life. That's how it is." Brian just smirked beside her. I didn't reply. Instead, my lawyer sent a formal message. No drama, just a quiet shift they didn't see coming. I booked that villa myself. Spent weeks finding the perfect one. Modern kitchen, infinity pool, walking distance to the beach. It was supposed to be a big family trip, the first in years. $13,700 from my account. Because, as always, we'll figure it out later, mint, you'll cover it, and we'll smile in the photos. And I did. Because I work. I make enough. Because I was raised to believe family comes first, and being the eldest means taking care of everyone. So when Mom called me 2 weeks before the trip and said we'd have to postpone, Brian's girlfriend has health issues, it's just not the right time, I agreed. Canceled my PTO. Let the refund window pass. It hurt, but I told myself it was for the best. Then I opened Instagram on a random Tuesday night and saw it. Brian, shirtless by the pool I booked. His girlfriend, Sasha, wearing the beach cover I bought her last Christmas. Same villa. Same dates. Just, know me. Life's short. Enjoy the sun, the caption read. I stared at the screen for a full minute, my sandwich untouched on the plate beside me. My fingers were shaking when I called. It was past 10, but Mom answered like she'd been expecting it. "Oh, honey," she said. "Let's not start drama." "Start drama?" My voice cracked. "You said the trip was off." "It was for you," she said, completely calm. "Brian's had a rough year. He deserves this." I heard laughter in the background. Then Brian's voice, smug as ever. "Hey, if you work so much, you can afford more vacations, right?" And that's when Mom said it. "You work. Your brother enjoys life. That's how it is." No apology. No guilt. Just acceptance, like it was obvious. Like I was the fool for expecting fairness. I didn't reply. Didn't yell. Didn't argue. Instead, I emailed my lawyer. No drama. Just a quiet shift. They didn't see it coming. The funny thing is, they all used to call me the Rock. The dependable one. The one who never freaked out, who always had a plan, who picked up the slack when everyone else dropped the ball. But rocks crack under pressure, especially when they're being pounded for decades. Let's rewind. Brian has always been the center of the universe. Even as a kid, he was chaos wrapped in charm. Failed 3 grades? He's just not academic. Crashed Mom's car into the neighbor's fence? He's creative. He was distracted by a song idea. Borrowed $5,000 to start a crypto channel that lasted 3 weeks? At least he's trying. I was the tryhard. I fixed the Wi-Fi. Filed Mom's taxes. Helped Sasha, Brian's girlfriend, write a resume. I built a life with deadlines, routines, and a savings account. They called me boring. But when rent was due, who got the call? Spoiler, not Brian. When I proposed the family trip, I truly believed it could be something healing. A moment of togetherness. I'd been working 12-hour days leading 2 development teams at a major tech company. I was burning out. I wanted waves, wine, and maybe a rare memory of all of us laughing over something other than who forgot to feed the cat. I found the villa through a colleague. Private chef optional, panoramic ocean view, 2 minutes from the beach. $13,700 for 7 days. I covered it, of course. Just secure it before it books, Mom said. "We'll pay you back, baby." That phrase had become a damn lullaby in our family. We'll pay you back. Nobody ever did. Brian, naturally, had no money. But that didn't stop him from hyping the trip online, talking about how we're gonna manifest paradise this year. Sasha started posting Pinterest boards with captions like "living like royalty in the Algarve soon." Meanwhile, I was moving budget items around like a Tetris god just to make everything fit. I bought plane tickets, paid the deposit for the van rental, sent everyone itineraries. 3 weeks before the flight, Sasha claimed she was feeling low vibe and had to postpone. Mom called soon after. "Sweetheart, with Sasha's health and all the stress Brian's under, we should delay the trip," she said, voice dripping with concern. "Maybe fall." I was stunned, but I stayed calm. "We'll lose money," I said. Mom exhaled dramatically. "It's just money. You make plenty." "Right. Just money." I canceled my PTO. Didn't ask for reimbursement. Just put my head down and told myself, next time. That mythical promised land where Brian would finally get it together and I wouldn't have to keep playing the parent. Then came Tuesday night. That cursed Tuesday. I was working late, again, when a coworker tagged me in an Instagram story. Dude, is this your brother? I clicked the link. It was Brian, smiling into the camera, holding a tropical drink. Behind him, the infinity pool. My pool. The villa. The exact villa. The stone arch, the lemon tree in the corner, the bamboo chairs I picked out from the photos. He panned to Sasha, who blew a kiss to the camera. Vacation mode thanks to the universe and some very generous vibes. Generous vibes? My chest went cold. I scrolled through their profiles. They'd been there for 2 days. Posting nonstop. Meals I paid for. Rooms I booked. The entire dream, except they cut me out of it like bad lighting. And then Brian posted this. Big shout out to my big bro for setting us up. Sometimes it pays to have a responsible sibling #family first. The caption felt like a slap, like a smirking confession, like a middle finger dipped in gratitude. I called Mom. She picked up on the third ring, chipper like she'd just finished a sangria. Hey honey, I thought the trip was postponed. Pause. Well, for you, it was. I blinked. What? I mean, Brian's been going through so much lately, she said, like that explained everything. He needed this. And you work all the time. You're always busy. He's in the villa, the one I paid for. I know, she said, lowering her voice. But you weren't using it. And Brian needed to reset. It's just how it worked out. Then she said it. You work. Your brother enjoys life. That's how it is. That phrase. It detonated something in me. All those years of be the bigger person. All those birthdays where I sent gifts and got silence. All the holidays where Brian showed up late and left early, and I stayed to do dishes. I heard laughter in the background. Brian's voice, full of swagger. Yo, tell him to relax. He'll write it off anyway. Mom giggled. Stop, he'll hear you. That's when I knew. They weren't ashamed. They were comfortable. Comfortable stealing from me. Comfortable mocking me. Comfortable using me as their wallet. I hung up. No screaming. No threats. Just silence. I sat there in the dark for a long time, watching their stories, seeing my hard-earned money become their playground. And then I opened my laptop, searched for every receipt, every invoice, cross-referenced payment confirmations, screenshotted texts, emails, even Sasha's DM where she asked if I could spot her ticket because she was waiting on a PayPal deposit. I compiled a full PDF. Dates, names, amounts. And then I sent one email. Subject line. Unauthorized use of funds, immediate action required. To my lawyer. Because I was done being the rock. I was the shift they never expected. The silence after sending that email was surgical. No calls. No texts. Just 48 hours of digital stillness, like the eye of a storm waiting to spin. Then, the detonator clicked. It started with a group text from Mom titled Family Time, like this was some Sunday brunch invitation and not a 3-person financial betrayal. MOM. Can we please talk before things go too far? You're being very dramatic and hurtful. It was supposed to be a vacation, not a lawsuit. Vacation? Is that what we're calling fraud now? I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, Brian chimed in. Brian, bro, come on. You always take things so personally. It's not like we trashed the place. I stared at the screen like it owed me an apology. Trashed the place? He was in my villa, eating my food, drinking my wine that I had ordered in advance for myself. He didn't even say sorry. Instead, he sent a selfie with the caption, sending good vibes. Let's not ruin the family bond over receipts. That's when I knew he didn't think I had the guts to follow through. He still saw me as the guy who picked up the check, the fixer, the cleanup crew. So I took a breath and posted my own message. Not in the family chat, on Facebook, where every aunt, cousin, and coworker could see. To those wondering why I'm not on the Portugal trip I planned and paid for, ask my brother and mom. Apparently, working hard means you get to fund other people's vacations while they block you from the group chat. Full story coming soon. The silence shattered. I got 3 private messages from cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. 2 aunts like the post with that emoji that's half sad, half outraged. And then, the phone call started. First Mom. Then Mom again. Then Brian. I let them ring. Then my lawyer called. Hi. Just spoke to their family attorney. He says they're willing to pay a reasonable portion if we agree not to pursue fraud. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was desperate. Tell him I'll take nothing less than full reimbursement. Plus damages. And I want it in writing. Will do. Then I texted Brian directly. You smirked on camera while standing in a villa you stole. I hope the likes were worth it, because I'm not the one who'll be losing sleep when the notice hits your credit report. He didn't reply. 2 hours later, Sasha did. She'd met me on Instagram. I didn't know it was that serious. I thought you were chill. Brian said you were fine with it. I'm really sorry if it got messy. She attached a bikini photo with that. No joke. Like cleavage and an apology could zero out $13,700 in stolen trust. I didn't reply to her either. Instead, I escalated. My lawyer issued a cease and desist for public defamation in case they decided to spin the story. I emailed the villa manager and sent proof that my card was used without permission. They froze the deposit return. And then I got on a call with my HR department. Hi, I said. I need to take some personal days next month. Thinking of finally using that credit with our legal partner services. Because this wasn't just about a vacation anymore. It was about years, decades, of being seen as less human, more wallet. The next morning, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Mom standing there with Brian behind her, arms crossed, chin high like he was some misunderstood prince. We need to talk, she said, walking past me like she still owned the place. I didn't stop her. Brian followed, tossing his keys onto my table like we weren't in the middle of a financial ambush. Mom turned, hands clasped like this was some lifetime family drama. This has gone too far, she said. Lawyers? Public posts? You embarrassed us. You robbed me. Her eyes widened like she'd been slapped. We used the villa. We didn't rob you. You told me the trip was canceled. Then flew there and laughed about it on Instagram. It wasn't meant to hurt you, she said, raising her voice. Brian was depressed. Sasha's had a hard year. They needed joy. I stared at her. At my expense? Brian finally spoke. You always act like you're better than everyone just because you have money. I stepped toward him. I don't act like I'm better. I am better. Because I don't steal from my own family. He scoffed. You're blowing this up for clout. You want people to feel sorry for you. Is that what you think? I leaned in. You think I care about pity? I want boundaries. I want respect. And I want my money. Mom reached for my arm. Please don't do this to us. I looked at her, calm but firm. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm finally doing something for me. Then I walked to the door, opened it, and said, out. She hesitated. Brian didn't. He stormed out, muttering, You'll regret this. I smiled. I already regretted paying for that trip. I won't make the same mistake again. They left, and I closed the door on 30 years of emotional blackmail disguised as family loyalty. That was the day everything changed. That was the day I chose myself. The next morning was the first time in years I felt something strange when I woke up. Peace. Not the empty, temporary silence you get before another guilt trip phone call. I mean real peace, the kind that settles in your bones. The kind you don't notice you've been missing until it finally returns. I made coffee. I opened my laptop. And I didn't check my phone once. No calls. No passive-aggressive texts. No notifications from Mom or Brian begging me to undo the storm I'd unleashed. I think they finally understood that the guy who used to bend over backwards for them had disappeared. That man was dead, buried under $13,700 of betrayal. And in his place stood someone new, someone they didn't know how to manipulate. I didn't stop with the legal claim. My lawyer filed for damages. The villa's management emailed confirming that the deposit refund, nearly $3,000, was being withheld for unauthorized occupancy and damage to property. Turns out Sasha had left red wine stains on the guest bedspread, and Brian cracked a marble countertop trying to open a wine bottle, like a Viking, according to the caretaker's report. Real classy. Their dream trip was quickly turning into a financial sinkhole, and I didn't lift a finger to stop it. Let them feel it. For the first time, they were getting a taste of what it's like to clean up their own mess. Meanwhile, I started living. I booked a solo trip to Iceland, a small cottage near a glacier lagoon, complete with a wood stove and floor-to-ceiling windows. No distractions. No family. Just me, snow, and silence. That first night, wrapped in a blanket watching the aurora flicker overhead, I laughed. Out loud. Alone. And it wasn't bitter. It wasn't hollow. It was free. While I was away, Brian posted a cryptic Instagram story. Black screen, white letters. When loyalty dies, so does family. A week later, Sasha posted one of her crying selfies. Some people only love you when you're useful. Lesson learned. Cue the violin. Back home, mutuals started messaging me privately. Things were unraveling fast. Apparently, Brian's vibes-only lifestyle didn't vibe well with legal bills. Creditors started calling. Their rent was overdue. Sasha's Etsy store had tanked, and Brian's podcast about healing through sound frequencies got banned from Spotify for spreading misinformation. Mom tried to clean up the narrative. She told my Aunt Lydia I was going through a phase and had overreacted. But Lydia, God bless her, sent me a text. Honey, I've known you since diapers. If you cut them off, they earned it. That message felt better than any apology Mom could have mustered. But the real twist? 3 weeks later, I got a letter, an actual envelope, handwritten, from Dad. We hadn't spoken in years. He'd been mostly a ghost since the divorce. But inside was one line. I heard what they did. Proud of you for finally standing up. Don't let them reel you back in. And a check for $13,700. I didn't cash it. I didn't need the money anymore. But I kept the letter. Sometimes closure doesn't come from confrontation. Sometimes it's a simple sentence in black ink that says, you were right all along. As for Brian, last I heard, he moved back in with Mom. She sold a few family heirlooms to stay afloat and started a GoFundMe for his mental health recovery. I didn't donate, but I did forward the GoFundMe link to my lawyer. With the subject, I didn't donate. I had already paid enough. Because I wasn't the bank anymore. I wasn't the fallback plan. I wasn't their punching bag with a paycheck. I was done. Free. And finally, living a life I didn't have to apologize for. 3 months later, I walked into my own kitchen and didn't flinch when my phone buzzed. It was Mom again. Another voicemail. Another sad sigh at the start. Another, I don't know why you're doing this somewhere in the middle. Another desperate attempt to make my boundaries sound like her heartbreak. Delete. No hesitation. I wasn't interested in her emotional theater anymore. Not when I'd seen the receipts for what her love really cost. I sat down with my coffee, watching the steam curl toward the morning sun. And I realized I hadn't felt this calm in decades. Not since I was a kid, staying up past bedtime with a flashlight under the blankets, building dreams no one else bothered to ask about. Dreams they called too much or selfish. Dreams I buried under guilt and obligation. But now, I wasn't buried anymore. I was breathing, living, unbothered. It didn't happen overnight, of course. The first few weeks were messy, quiet, confusing. I kept waiting for the guilt to come roaring back, for that old, gnawing need to be the fixer. But guilt only thrives when you still want approval. And I didn't. Not from people who saw me as a transaction, not a person. Not from a brother who smiled in my face while stealing my future. Not from a mother who shrugged betrayal off with a wine glass and a beach view. So I let it go, all of it. And in its place, I built something new. I started drawing again, something I hadn't done since college. I posted sketches on a small account. No real plan, no audience, just art. And wouldn't you know? A few weeks in, a local gallery messaged me. They offered to feature my work in a fall collection, Boundaries and Betrayals. I said yes, because for once, I was telling my story. On my terms. No edits. No gaslighting. No fake smiles. The day of the gallery opening, I wore the same shoes I'd almost thrown out when Brian said they looked too accountant. People came up to me, real people, not family, not blood, just strangers who saw the pain in the lines, the rage in the colors, the victory in the silence. And they said one word over and over. Powerful. I smiled. Yeah, it was. Then it happened. A woman stepped up to one of my most brutal pieces, a jagged ink sketch of two people lounging in a villa while a third, faceless figure stood outside the window holding the bill. She looked at it for a long time. Then she turned to me. I saw your brother's podcast once. Didn't know the story behind the scenes. Her voice wasn't cruel, just honest. I nodded. Now you do. She smiled. Good for you. That was all. And it was enough. Later that night, I got one more message. From Sasha. Not a DM. Not a selfie. An email. I moved out. Brian said you ruined his life. But I think you just showed him the mirror. I'm sorry for what I took part in. You didn't deserve that. You were always the one holding everyone together. And now that you've let go, maybe it's time the rest of us fell apart. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because I wasn't waiting for apologies anymore. I'd stopped being the bank, the babysitter, the punching bag. I was the man who burned the bridge and never looked back. And if they ever call me cruel for it, let them. Let them call me names from across the ocean of consequences they built. I'll be too busy living, too busy laughing, too busy watching the waves roll in at a beach I paid for. This time, for myself. Alone. unburdened, unforgiven, and absolutely free.